My Patreon supporters got to see preview images, work in progress shots, and higher resolution pictures of the completed figure. They also get little minifigures made every time they donate $10. Although in this particular case, I made the figure in less than 2 days, so it's not like they really got that much advance notice. But if you want to join them, just support me on Patreon. Even the smallest amount helps. The link is in the description below. Hello out there, this is Wake Angel 2001 coming at you with a new personal project. Anyone who saw my review of the Incredibles figure set probably knew this was coming. It is Rouge the Bat, designed to be in the same basic style as the Tomy Sonic figures that are out right now. But now I want to have a quick discussion about the Tomy Sonic line, because a lot of times people want me to make customs of these figures, and I'm always a bit more reluctant. So here's where I'm going to say my piece about it. Alright, the basic thing is Tomy's new Sonic figures are built in such a way that they can't be dismantled, at least for the most part. Like Sonic and Tails there, for example, can at least have their hands and feet taken off. Knuckles can actually be almost dismantled as much as any of the Jazzwares figures could. And the Sonic figure there, the modern Sonic, he can't be dismantled at all. So, I can, of course, customize figures that can't be dismantled, but usually when I do that, they're larger figures. Because, you know, not being able to dismantle means it gets really hard to get into nooks and crannies, and that's okay on bigger figures sometimes, but on smaller figures it can be a real hassle, especially with Sonic characters, because they tend to have long spines and stuff that rub against each other or get in the way, so painting one without getting paint on another part is, you know, rather difficult. However, depending on what your character looks like, I might actually be able to use a Tomy Sonic figure to make them. I've been telling some of my commissioners that on a case-by-case basis, but I just want to put that out there now. Unfortunately, the Knuckles figure is pretty much impossible to customize, because look at this guy. Not only can he not be dismantled in any way, but the way his dreads come down and pretty much cover his entire body means that there's no way I'm going to be able to get a paintbrush in anywhere or even sculpt anything new on unless it's on his head. So I'm pretty much never going to be able to make a custom figure out of this particular Knuckles, but it might be possible to work with other Tomy Sonic figures. We'll work on this on a case-by-case basis. Anyone who wants to commission me will, you know, let me know. Alright, so let's get to actually making the Rouge figure. Okay, so the base figure is, of course, the Helen Parr, aka Elastigirl, from that 5-pack that had the entire Incredibles family. Although I do believe this figure is released as a single, at least in her, you know, her gray costume that she's going to wear in other parts of the movie. But, yeah, I bought the whole set, so that's the one I'm using. Now this figure, it can't really be dismantled, except that the head can be taken off. And that is exceptionally useful, because without the head in the way, it really gives me all the space I need to add what little sculpt goes onto the body, because, like I said, Helen Parr has almost a perfect physique to make Rouge. I just had to add a little bit of the cuffs to the tops of her boots and gloves. It was rather difficult on her boots because I had to work between her thighs without being able to remove them from the body, but there was just enough of a thigh gap in there for me to work with it. I also made the feet a little bit bigger because, you know, Sonic characters have larger feet than humans do. I also, of course, had to sculpt on the bust line because although Elastigirl's got what she needs on the bottom, she just doesn't quite match what Rouge got on top, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah, with the proper paint job, it actually does look a lot like Rouge is supposed to, and we can move on to where pretty much 99% of the real sculpting went, her head. At first, I just had to cover Elastigirl's face with a nice smooth surface that would be, you know, the nice round, almost spherical Rouge head. And it was rather difficult to get all 6 of the hair spines on there. And yes, it would have been impossible if it wasn't possible to remove the head. So this is why it's so important for figures to have at least some parts you can take off. Once I had those difficult little points sculpted into place, I was able to make the rest of the details of her face, including her eyes, ears, muzzle, and yes, sculpting on the roundness of the rest of her head. You didn't think that I was just going to leave the left side of her head all flat like Helen Parr's hair, did you? So yes, with her head completed, all that was left to do is stick it on the body and take a look at the completed Rouge. And there she is, Rouge the Bat, made in a style that pretty closely matches Tomy's current Sonic line. Of course, she has a ball-jointed head instead of a swivel cut, which is a bonus improvement. She still has the same universal jointed shoulders, nothing at the wrists or elbows, although that is basically what they're doing with the modern Sonic figures anyway. The only weakness is that both of her legs move as one piece. They aren't two separate legs. In that respect, it has more in common with Fisher-Price's Imaginext line rather than Tomy's Sonic line. But hey, Jakks Pacific is kind of doing their own also-ran thing, and I take that ball-jointed head with a little bit more expressive tilt and up and down looking as the bonus to compensate for the whole legs have to move as a pair thing. So taking a quick side-by-side comparison between the official Sonic and Knuckles figures, I think Tomy made that Knuckles figure kind of tall, but, you know, it shows how she kind of blends in. She's just a tiny bit taller than Sonic, at least when you're looking at a nose-to-nose thing, and just a tiny bit shorter than Knuckles, so that, I'm guessing that Knuckles is just a tall guy. Also, here's a comparison between her and my Jazzwares Rouge figure, just to show off the, difference in style and buck. The Jazzwares figure is a little bit taller, but that is how it usually works out. Anyway, I hope you really like the figure in this style. Hopefully I'll get more requests to make stuff like this. This is Wake Angel 2001, signing off.